So we're gonna start with 2 cups of oats. I have quick oats here, but you can use rolled oats too.
And now I'm just chopping a few nuts. I have cashews, almonds, and walnuts here, but you can use any nuts that you have. You could use pecans. Pecans go really great with this too. So I have about a half cup of nuts here.
And so now we're just gonna add those same nuts that I just chopped. So here I have a few chia seeds. So I'm doing 2 teaspoons of these. You could easily substitute this for flax seeds or hemp hearts, but here I'm just using chia seeds. And now here I have some hemp hearts, which just provide some healthy fats. And again, I am doing 2 teaspoons of this. And so now we're just gonna combine the oats and nuts and chia seeds and hemp hearts until they're just evenly combined. Now we're adding our oil. Here I have a 1/4 cup measurement, and here I have some olive oil. So what you wanna do is you wanna fill about halfway through this 1/4 cup with olive oil. I've also tried avocado oil. Avocado oil is also great. And the rest of the way, you actually want to fill with coconut oil. So to here, I have about 1/8 cup of olive oil. And now we're doing our 1/8 cup of coconut oil, which is about a teaspoon, or just make sure you're doing the right amount with your measuring cup. So just take that ounce there. And the reason why you need that is because I find that the olive oil has a kind of unpleasant flavor, so the coconut oil is kind of just offsets that. Now we're gonna do our honey, which is obviously the sweetener. If you do not have honey or you don't want honey, you could add maple syrup. But here I'm just using some raw honey, and I'm just filling a 1/4 cup measurement with it. And I find that if you measure out the oil first, the honey comes out a lot easier. Now, if you like your granola less sweet, you can add less honey, obviously, and if you like more, you could add more honey, and you just want to add that to your oat mixture. Now I'm just preheating my oven to 350. My oven preheats really quickly, so I'm doing it right after I add my honey, but if your oven preheats a little slower, you might want to do it at around the dry ingredients stage. Okay, so now that we have all our wet and dry ingredients here, we're just gonna mix it until everything is fully coated. And if you find that your mixture is a little too dry, you could add more oil or honey to it. It should be a pretty dry, almost sandy mixture. It shouldn't be like a batter or anything like that. It should be a little crumbly too, but nothing too wet. So after combining my ingredients, it is an okay texture, but if you taste it, you might feel that the olive oil is kind of more pronounced, or the coconut oil is more pronounced, or maybe there's too much honey. So add whatever you need, but I feel like there should be a little more honey in this granola mixture, so I'm just adding a little more honey. But feel free to add more oil too. So we're just gonna add a few more ingredients. Here I have some cinnamon. I like my granola quite cinnamony, so I'm adding about a teaspoon of cinnamon, but add how much ever you think you'll enjoy. Oh, and then now I'm adding some salt. It is in this weird jaggery jar, but just ignore that. So this is Himalayan pink salt. I'm adding about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt to my granola, and you just want to combine all that. Okay, so now we are getting ready for the baking process. Here I have a piece of parchment paper and some canola oil, just to make sure my granola doesn't stick, but you don't need canola oil. So just a little bit. And now I'm adding my granola, and you want to kind of spread out a thin layer of it. And like I said, you can add almost anything to this. So you can add almost anything to this. You can add sunflower seeds. Those are a great addition to granola, but I don't have any of that, so I'm just doing some nuts. So you want to kind of make kind of a thin layer on your parchment paper or your oiled pan. and just place this into the oven. I am now adding my granola into my oven. And it is preheated to 350, just like I said before. And now you want to set a cook time for 8 minutes. You want to cook this for about 30 minutes, but every 8 minutes or so you want to stir it. So it has been around 8 minutes, but if you like your granola a little more chunky and not as fine, you don't want to stir it every 8 minutes, more like every 10 minutes. And I like my granola more in like pieces, so I am gonna wait 2 more minutes. So I'm gonna set my cook time for 2 more minutes so that I will know when it's done for me to actually stir it. Again, if you want it fine, you would stir at 8 minutes. Okay, so it has been 10 minutes. So I'm gonna stir my granola very gently. If you can see what I'm doing. I'm just gently tossing it around. And if you feel like you don't wanna do this in the oven, you can take it out and stir it instead. So this is what my granola looks like after about 22 minutes of cooking it. So I stirred it at the 10-minute stop, then the 6-minute stop, and then another 6-minute stop. And so here I'm just adding a few cranberries while it's still a little warm. And I'm just stirring all of that in. And as it cools, it will become like a little more brittle. So I added the chocolate chips after it was completely cooled down, obviously. And you can see that it's a lot more together, so you will get the better chunks if you like let it cool down. And now I'm just placing that into an airtight container. And you can store it for like up to a month, I think. And you just want to get every little part. And that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and I hope you get to try out this recipe.